Hello and welcome to 2-year anniversary episode of The Living Philosophy. Just been interesting this week. I was kind of been thinking about the channel a lot and kind of can I be doing things better? Coming out, I guess, of like 3 months of from the peak and kind of like coming back down. So I'm in one of these peaks before, the algorithm has its ups and downs. And though I have faith it will once again be coming up, it always gets me thinking, like, is there things I could be doing better? How can I improve the channel? I went back to looking at the first episode, and the lighting, the audio is so quiet, and yeah, it's such a different stylistic thing, even compared to like later in the 100 days videos. Massive leap in quality. I got some good lights, better camera, and yeah, it was just really, really big leap, and it was really interesting to like look back on that. And so contemplating that and kind of thinking, well, what's the next big step? Can I make something that's a lot bigger? And this was sparked a bit as well by me chatting to Matt from Idea Sleep Furious, and he was like, would you ever think about like sitting down and just making like the best possible thing you can make, and just like taking a month to make like really, really good episode? And the next episode on the list, of course, is Nietzsche in the Existentialists. And I was just like, oh, that's really appealing, because I'm going to do it with any episode. It'd be great to do it with Nietzsche, because that's like my home base. It's where I started with philosophy. It's someone just absolutely love and could talk about for days. So yeah, it'd be nice to spend that much time, because normally when I'm making videos, it's very imbalanced towards the writing process and the video editing. But it'd be very interesting to spend as much time editing as it would be writing, and kind of like with the feminism versus womanism episode or the four quadrants episode, to try and make the most beautiful thing that I can make, and to have the best script and the best visuals. So kind of think about it. I'm gonna take the month of November to do that with Nietzsche, and just do a real deep dive on that. So yeah, that's been interesting, but also reflecting back on where the channel kind of began. And I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but yeah, it started in June 2020. My friend Barry, he said to me, hey, we should do a podcast on Irish mythology and on dreams. And then between him and our friend David, and David helped us out with like the production and the editing at the time. So yeah, that was really cool. And the three of us just used to meet up, go out to Barry's house, have the fire on, have a few cups of tea, and then me and Barry would sit down and chat about Irish mythology. And it was just heaps of fun. We did like 3 episodes. We did one on psychology of the Cuchulainn myth, kind of like coming out of a Jungian kind of frame of what does it mean, what is the symbolism of these myths. So we looked at Cuchulainn, we looked at the myth of the Salmon of Knowledge, and I think we did an episode on a dream that I had as well. And then I went off on my 40-day hike. So I hiked the southwest coast of Ireland down to the southernmost tip of Ireland, and then came back north. And yeah, we met up then again, and I think we'd started doing episodes, and we reshot an episode, and then there was a lockdown. And so Barry was like, you just do that episode yourself. So I reshot that episode again. I think that's the last episode that's there on the Living Myth channel. And then I was like, I'm just gonna. I loved the liberation of it, because it's like we were talking and the ideas were just flowing out, and I was like, this is amazing. This is really, like, as a creative process, this is so much fun. And so I wanted to take that, because I've been having a bit of a creative bottleneck when I was writing articles for the blog and for Medium, and I just getting bogged down in research, because I just always want to like have the most well-researched, kind of like well thought out kind of thing. And it was just like, oh no, this podcasting, this video format is amazing. You just get in front of the camera and you're talking and it's just flowing. And so I decided to do, with a lockdown, I was just like, hell, let's do 100 videos in 100 days. Let's just really figure this out and let the ideas flow. So it all really dates back to Barry and David, and to just me and Barry having that interaction, and to those ideas just flowing out. And it was really, it was just such an amazing experience. And I just know that none of this would have happened without Barry being like, hey, let's make a podcast together. So yeah, that was was really cool just to look back on that, and I would love to do that podcast again at some point. Well, yeah, like I really want to get into podcasting, because anything that I've done, I just really like that back and forth. It's just such a living thing to it, and that living exploration of ideas that I adore. So yeah, I mean, who knows if we get back to it, but I wasn't sure if I've ever talked about that. So you can still see those videos over on the channel, The Living Myth. So I'd check them out. If you like mythology and psychology of mythology, then you'll probably enjoy it. It's just a couple of Irish lads drinking tea talking about it. It's quite good, or at least I love it anyway. It's got a special place in my heart. So yeah, and it also brings up something else that I've kind of been thinking. So again, in this time of thinking, oh, which direction do we want to take the channel? Like, can I be doing things better? I was thinking after the Kierkegaard episode and a Heidegger episode. Something I've talked a lot about on Patreon is this idea garden, idea verse that I'm working on in the program called Obsidian, and trying to make connections between all these different ideas and trying to get everything that I'm learning to go into this so that they can start forming interconnections, so that over time I've just got this really rich knowledge network, and it's working much better. Remember, after looking at Ryan Holiday talking about the Commonplace journal, Commonplace book, putting together various slips of ideas that are important to you, just never took for me. And I'm finding the Obsidian process works much better, but it's just taking time to nurture it. I just found after the Kierkegaard and Heidegger episodes that the ideas hadn't gotten enough into that network, that I didn't sit down and think, oh, where does this relate to? What are the map overs? What are the connections here? So yeah, I'm thinking that after the Nietzsche episode, I'm going to space out the canonical episodes on philosophers and schools of philosophy a bit more. And I'm just going to start thinking of, like, looking more at these interconnections and start really cultivating that garden in Obsidian and just seeing what emerges. So yeah, it's this interesting new idea of a creative process that's coming up. So yeah, I mean, let's see how it's going to go in the next few months. That's kind of my thinking on it now, and it's just really interesting timing because it's coming up to this 2-year anniversary, and yeah, just kind of like thinking about, okay, where do we want to go from here? How do we want the future, the next year to go, the next 2, 3, 4 years to go? So just looking at that, and yeah, kind of seeing what's going to be the most beneficial, what's going to be the most enjoyable for people to watch and for me to make, and where does that meet? And maybe spacing out the canonical episodes, or taking longer to make canonical episodes. So we'll see how the next 2 or 3 months go, and then I'm sure I'll check in again once I've learned from making that Nietzsche video and making a few videos the other way, and being more conscious about that note making process in Obsidian. So yeah, just interesting timing, but just thought I'd share a little bit more about the genesis of the living philosophy and just where it's how we've got here and where we're going. And yeah, that's just about everything for this episode. Stay tuned at the end of the month for the Nietzsche episode. And yeah, just as ever, thanks to the patrons, thanks to Shane, thanks to Croissant Eater, thanks to everyone else who has just kind of gotten involved in that community. If you're interested in seeing videos early, want to watch some bonus episodes, get involved in monthly Q&As, then you can head over to Patreon, where you also can become a wonderful supporter of the living philosophy and get your name in the credits. So a lot to be said for it. And as ever, if you have any thoughts, insights, feedback, any kind of input, would love to hear from you down in the comments. Otherwise, I shall see you next time. Thank you for watching.